Virtual artists aren't exactly a new concept. Japan has had Vocaloid since 2004, a singing voice synthesizer software where each voice has its own persona. Digital influencers, though, are a slightly different concept. And just a couple of weeks ago, FN Meka was next in line to be the next big star in this line of artificially intelligent performers, until it all went downhill. Meka is getting cancelled, and in this video, we're going to talk about why. First things first, who or what exactly is FN Meka? Meka is a robot rapper not accepted by this world, according to his Instagram bio. This description has taken on a more literal meaning since, he got cancelled. Technically, he's a computer avatar with a half-shaved head and green braids that is voiced by a more or less anonymous human. He's basically like one of those VTubers that have been popping up lately. Their nuances are vastly different though, and the difference is plenty obvious, again, in the personas of these virtual beings. Since VTubers have a more anime-esque vibe to them, the characters they play are more attuned to that entire aesthetic. There is a very steep geographical and pop cultural divide that separates Meka from these VTubers, since his persona is designed to cater to a mostly Western audience. His AI is pretty interesting too. His creators built a unique AI engine that analyzes popular songs of a specific genre and generates suggestions for the many parts of a song's construction, its lyrics, chords, melody, and tempo. The music is then created by putting together these pieces. Meka is by no means an autonomous AI, he's more like a puppet, but then who exactly is pulling the strings? And this is where the controversy begins. FN Meka was signed on the roster of the Capitol Records label. Anthony Martini and Brandon Lee founded the company Factory New, and by the way, neither of these guys are African American. Remember this. It's important and we'll explain why in a bit. So Factory New focuses on virtual entities like Meka and his label mate Lil Bitcoin. Using Martini and Lee's expertise in artist management and video game skin design, this firm is essentially attempting to usher in a death of the artist type beat while selling as many songs and shilling as many NFTs as humanly possible. Or perhaps it is pioneering new territory in the experimental realm of non-human artists. That is all up to you. Now let's get to the meat of the controversy, the race debate. Essentially, the FN Meka project, spearheaded by Martini and Lee, again, two men who are definitely not black, has been chastised for using the N-word frequently in its music. Pick up a song of his, any song, like Florida Water, for instance. Meka casually drops the N-word in the song in an attempt to flex on his haters, letting them know how different he was built by two non-black dudes. To add to the drama, a photograph posted on the robot's rapper's Instagram showed him being assaulted by the police, and what has been seen as a trivialization of police brutality. And after enough coverage, Capitol just had to drop the AI artist. In a statement shared through the New York Times, Capitol said that they apologized to the black community for their insensitivity in signing this project, without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process beforehand. And shortly before Capitol formally announced its split with Meka, the activist group Industry Blackout published an open letter to the label, bringing attention to these concerns. They said that while they praise technological progress that links listeners to music and enriches the experience, they find fault with the lack of awareness of how hurtful this caricaturization of the black community was. It clearly disrespects the community's experiences and their culture, a mix of disgusting cliches, appropriative mannerisms derived from black musicians, and racial slurs interwoven in songs. And what does Factory New have to say about all this? Martini has defended the project in part by emphasizing that beneath FN Meka's smooth computer-generated visage is a diverse team of creatives, pointing out that the unnamed rapper who voices him as a black guy, though there is an equal weightage of reports that say that he's not. Martini said that the project wasn't some evil scheme of white executives. To him, it's really no different than managing a human artist, except that it's digital. Houston rapper Kyle the Hooligan claims that he was one of the few IRL artists participating in the project, and that he's yet to be paid. Then there's the matter of the lyrics. Anyone with a rudimentary understanding of AI understands that the technology tends to reinforce existing preconceptions in the datasets it utilizes to acquire information, and even ostensibly moral AIs can swiftly turn racist in the absence of human involvement. Also, does the fact that the lyrics were pulled from the internet make it any more appropriate for a white person to use them to profit off the N-word? And while Gunna is currently serving time in prison alongside Young Thug, following a case in which the kind of lyrics mimicked by FN Meka was used as evidence, it's easy to see why Industry Blackout calls this digital effigy a careless abomination that is disrespectful to real people who face real consequences for these things in real life. So where exactly does this lead us? Honestly, it's difficult to predict what will happen to Meka next, given his proximity to gamers and crypto bros, communities that are not exactly famous for their sense of justice. He'd probably be okay if Factory New opted to continue the project without Capitol, which they probably will. After all, he's already amassed a sizable fan base as an autonomous, auto-tune wielding avatar. It remains to be seen whether Capitol will pay amends or merely leave the black music community with their deepest apologies. In any case, FN Meka's dismissal by the record label is an unmistakable warning shot for any future producer thinking of being openly racist while hiding behind AI. Now, moving on to other news. First off, Google has a new AI chat box, and they're warning people about using it. Google has made available to the public its experimental artificial intelligence AI chatbot, and you can now register to communicate with the AI-driven bot trained on the company's contentious language model. But they already warned that early Lambda previews may display erroneous or inappropriate content. AI Test Kitchen isn't app that allows users to learn about, experiment with, and provide feedback on Google's new AI technologies. According to Alphabet and Google CEO Sundar Pichai, the software is intended to simulate what it would be like to one day have Lambda at the axis of your pocket. The capacity of these language models to produce unlimited alternatives demonstrates their promise, but it also implies that they don't always get things quite right. The ability of these language models to generate an infinite number of possibilities illustrates their potential, but it also means that they do not always get things right. Despite significant advancements in safety and accuracy in the current version of Lambda, they are still at the onset of a journey. AI Test Kitchen now has numerous levels of security. This effort has reduced, but not entirely eliminated the risk. Not long ago, Google had to fire an employee for violating a confidentiality agreement after they claimed that the text giant conversation AI is sentient, in the sense that it has feelings, emotions, and subjective experiences. We don't really have an exact test report to confirm this, but it could just be that the man was going through what Joaquin Phoenix went through and her. Again, not like we're pointing any fingers. Moving on, DataRobot has been busy downsizing. Faced with a fluctuating economy and management turbulence, AI company DataRobot was forced to lay off 26% of its workforce in its worst layoff to date. The cutbacks follow the resignation of previous CEO Dan Wright in May, following internal complaints that he and other key officials sold company shares while sales were down and the business's immediate financial prospects were bleak. This wave of restructuring by the privately owned Boston-based corporation followed layoffs in April and 2020. It also marks the end of an era of rapid expansion that had seen the firm reach a market cap of $6.3 billion in 2021 and raise more than $1 billion since its inception, owing to a high demand for its AI tools and machine learning platform. And honestly, it's sad to watch them sink. Employee morale was broken as a result of the upheaval at the once promising company. Some staff departed on their own, including Ben Taylor, DataRobot's former top AI evangelist, who quit in protest in a scathing letter to colleagues accusing senior management of immoral behavior. Workers that willingly departed, we believe, did so because they were either disappointed with the company's new direction or because they are early-stage employees wanting to latch onto the next successful startup. Before its current problems, DataRobot was regarded as one of the most inventive, independent AI providers, capable of challenging the supremacy of the IT behemoths. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think more AI rappers will start popping up now that Meka's been dethroned? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!